Introducing the Italian Grape Geek program, a new and original approach to Italian wines. IGG, as it's fondly known, is a book, a podcast, an online theory course, and an in-person tasting course. Our pocket-sized book briefly introduces 80 grapes with benchmark producers, helping you find and taste these great wines on your own. Space to make your own notes makes the book a personal record of your Italian wine journey. No time to read? We've read the whole book out loud with added insights from Italian wine ambassadors. Listen for free on Italian Wine Podcast. Obsessed with Italian wine? Take the super accessible online theory course. Get certified as an Italian grape geek. Want more? Our international IGG educators have got your in-person tasting course to cap off your full IGG immersion. Go to mamajumboshrimp.com and sign up today.
This is awesome. Okay, she's opening Benanti at Nebbianco 23?
22.
22. This is awesome. What excites me about Etna is that, like, we don't have a ton of history of Etna. So, like,
Right.
I'm looking forward to bottles, like, 40 years from now being like, here's Caricante at its
Absolutely.
ageability.
When I originally bought this bottle, I bought a few of them with the intention of trying to, like, sit on a few of them.
Yeah.
And this is the last one because I keep wanting to drink it, and I
Yeah.
have no regrets. It's amazing.
So we're opening it for the pod.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's the right reason to.
Thank you.
Right opportunity.
Welcome to the Italian Wine Podcast. This is the next generation with me, McKenna Cassidy. For the next episode, I invite you to explore with me what young adults are up to in the Italian wine scene. Let's feast on our discussion of Italian wine and culture. Grab a glass with us. Chin chin.
Okay, Liz, so let's introduce you and welcome everyone to the pod. Hello, good to be with you. I'm McKenna from the next generation of the Italian Wine Podcast, and I'm joined by the wonderful Liz Terracina. So good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited because this is our first live pod from a restaurant in Chicago, so a special inaugural episode for kind of a new series of highlighting special restaurants and their wine directors.
Oh, thank you.
So everyone, Liz is similar age to me. How old are you?
I'm 24.
Awesome. And she helps direct the wine program here at Mano a Mano restaurant in Chicago's Logan Square, right next to Andros Taverna as well, part of the same group.
Yeah. And I also do the wine for that program as well.
Yes, wonderful.
Yeah.
And so help us just understand, like, the difference in the two programs. I know one focuses on Spanish, one's Italian.
Well, so Andros Taverna is exclusively Greek.
Okay.
We only do Greek wine, Greek varietals, and then the same can be said for Mano, except we do have a touch more variety in a true Italian style. Italians don't exclusively drink their own wines. I mean, you hear the joke, like, Italians drink more champagne than Prosecco.
True.
I think that's absolutely real. So we do have a little bit more variety on this list, but predominantly Italian, and the whole goal being to highlight both Italian here at Mano and then Greek next door. Grows together, goes together. We're trying to produce authentic food.
Yeah.
So why not have the authentic wine to go with it?
It's cool because it's really giving wine bar vibes. So, like, it's not kind of a deep, extensive wine list that I have to know a ton about to, like, come in and enjoy a bottle with friends. Like, it's kind of like as a compliment, like a lower stakes environment, especially here. And I think that resonates really well with this neighborhood, but also just, like, the next generation of wine drinkers and kind of the drinking environment they're looking for to enjoy wine.
No, I totally agree. And I think that was the whole point, especially with Mano a Mano. And this is not even my concept. This is Doug, right? Chef Doug Saltis. Wanted it to be like this approachable wine program. And if you think about it, we've all heard that younger generations are not drinking as much wine. I think the reality is it's an intimidating category of beverage. When there's so many easy things for people to pull, why would you seek out something that is often perceived as being more expensive and a little bit harder to kind of get into? And so that's why we do things like our carafes that we do here. But then we also have just like a very approachable, almost like bistro style is kind of the goal wine list. So highlighting one producer from each region with the grape of that region, essentially. We do have like a few from Piedmont, so maybe don't quote me on that exactly, but just highlighting one grape. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. You don't have to know about a ton of producers. That's why we're here, is to help kind of show you that.
Have you seen, like, a cool moment of engagement with some guests? Like, feeling comfortable, like, they were like, let's get a bottle of that, because you were able to help them understand, like, what it was?
I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do. I mean, with a lot of Italian grapes, like, they have these names that maybe Americans don't know how to pronounce. I mean, Lord knows I did not know how to pronounce it when I first got into wine. So oftentimes it's just a matter of being like, this is what you told me you like. I think you'd like this grape because of X, Y, and Z. I have a tendency to get really passionate about wines, and I get like all bouncy, and
I empathize with that. It's something we share.
And I think that guests really like that, but that also is one of those things where when you get excited about the wine, they get excited along with you.
Yeah.
I've had that happen quite a few times where we've turned guests onto grapes and they keep coming back for it. I had
build a relationship
these parents,
with the grape.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I had these parents that came in with their 2 kids, and they always would split a bottle of wine at dinner, which is exactly how my parents kind of approached life and still do. So I love it. I'm all for it. They always came in and got the Vermentino. And Vermentino is an amazing grape. It's an amazing wine. But at one point I was like, why don't we try like a Suave? Let's try something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a moment of engagement where I was like, you always do something and I respect it and I appreciate it, but why not try something new just this one week? And if you don't like it, we'll go back to your Vermentino next week. All of a sudden, this gentleman has come in and bought all of the Suave. Like, I had to replace it. Like, we ran through all of it because that is what he wanted. So when he brought in his family again, that's what they ordered. When he brought in another couple with his like, double date style, that's what they ordered. And it was just like, it's so rewarding to know that you turned someone on to a grape that they might not have had the exposure to otherwise.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And how you helped them build a new relationship with that, and then also builds trust with you as their tableside consultant.
Very true.
It's so cool.
That is helpful.
So let's talk a little bit about your journey. Some people would consider you being a young person in the wine industry, but you've had plenty of experience in the industry working in restaurants, and then we were at Asador Bastion, the famous steakhouse in Chicago before, and several other spots. So just tell us like how you kind of met wine. Obviously you were familiar from your family, but then you kind of met the leadership of the beverage through the restaurant industry and like how that path went.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got into wine, I think, at home first, just my parents always drinking it. I come from an Italian family, and I always referred to the bottle of wine that was brought to dinner as like the torch, like the Olympic torch, because like family members from all over the city of Austin where I grew up would come in and wine was the first thing opened.
The Olympic torch?
It kind of is. Like you know, like you're parading in and you're following the torch. It's like
so
the Vince Terracina is with it. You know what I mean? So it was always this central figure to most dinners, most celebrations. I started working in restaurants at 17 just to make money for college. And it was a beer and wine garden right outside of Austin. Actually, it was my mom who was like, why don't you apply there? Like, I was working with kids at the time and not enjoying kids. Like, just not enjoying teaching children. Kids are fine. Don't come hate me on that. But I was needing a job, started learning about wine. I always thought it was cool, but it was very intimidating. And, of course, this restaurant was pretty casual, so there was no somm or anything. So I didn't even really know that position existed within restaurants. And then when I moved up to Chicago, somms are a big part of restaurant culture. And I loved that. I really loved the fine dining aspect.
Huge deal here.
I definitely did a little bit of more casual and more elevated dining for the first part of my time here in Chicago. Worked at a sports bar for a really long time, and that's always a fun thing to do in college. Made some really good money, made some really good friends and relationships there. I worked for the Gibson's group for a very short period of time, and started to see wine on tables as a more regular thing. People selecting bottles because of producers and vintages, and I thought that was really cool. And then out of college, I went to college here in Chicago at DePaul. Out of college, I went to the Alinea group and started working at the aviary in the office. So wine at this point was still very much this intimidating thing that I was curious about and I loved the idea of. But I went to cocktails first, actually, and, worked for a year under like Paul Sauter and learned a lot about spirits. I got my WSET diploma in spirits, was just kind of my way of wanting to continue to learn. And I kind of approached that same energy with wine when I went over to Asador, where when I left the Alinea group, I really wanted to learn more about wine. It was something that I really didn't understand and really wanted to understand.
Was Christian there when you went to Asador?
He was not at the time. No.
So
he was actually still with Barmar.
Okay.
Originally when I went into Asador, there wasn't someone that I was like looking towards as intensely as a few months in when Thomas, who is my mentor, better known in the Chicago wine community as TK, he kind of took me under his
Chi-Town.
TK of Chi-Town, seriously. But he kind of took me under his wing. He saw my like curiosity, and my general approach to hospitality at Asador, which is such an elevated steakhouse, was I want you to feel comfortable in this space. I lead with hospitality in a way that's like, this is my home, this is my bar. I was a bartender there, like, this is my bar, like, welcome in, like, let's make you feel comfortable. And I think he approaches wine the same way, and I wanted to do that as well. So he started challenging me to learn more. He's the one that encouraged me to switch from WSET, which is what I thought would be a good way for me to learn wine, and actually has been a really great way for me to learn about wine and spirits. But I switched over to Quartermaster Somms, which kind of propelled me a little bit more forward into this role here. So I mean, he's still an amazing mentor and an amazing influence in my career. I'm very grateful to have him. Guy. Yeah, eventually before I came here, shout out TK. I did eventually start working with Christian, and he's also become an amazing mentor. But it was definitely Thomas that kind of turned me on to wine as a more approachable topic that like could be shared in a friendly environment. I mean, he's the one that was like, champagne is a really fun and expensive thing sometimes, but who says you only have to drink it during celebrations? That should be a daily beverage. True. All of a sudden, my mind shifted. My mindset shifted. It was great. Like, I have a lot of people to thank for my career. It's one of the coolest things about this industry in Chicago especially is that there's so many people that want to help you because someone else helped them first. Yeah. You know, like Christian didn't get to where he is, a very accomplished sommelier, but by himself. Like, he had people that helped lift him up, that challenged him, that helped him with blind tastings, and so therefore he helps me. And same it's can be shared venture. It is a shared venture. That's cool. We're all here to lift each other up at the end of the day, right? Like, it's cool that community exists within the world of wine.
Absolutely. Yeah. Talk to me more about your perspective on like the general wine industry of Chicago. And you can keep it within the next gen age group, or you can speak more widely, but like, and you can think about it for a second too, but what is your perspective on the wine culture of Chicago? Is it at competition with spirits and cocktails? We have a pretty strong cocktail culture too. Or rather, is it its own entity of creativity, of a variety of fine wine bars and natural wine bars kind of all mixed together? Like, what's your kind of take on the wine scene of Chinatown?
I think it's a really good question. The wine scene in Chicago, I would argue, is very collaborative within each other. Like I said, everyone kind of just wants to lift each other up. There's so many tasting groups that I've found over the years. There's so many opportunities to meet fellow somms, and it's never like, oh, like, you're a somm too, I need to be better than you. It's always like, wait, then let's geek out for a moment. I actually think that the wine scene and cocktail scene are very much hand in hand. I don't think every restaurant has an incredible wine and cocktail program, but I also don't think all restaurants are focusing on that. Like, I think there's some places like the Aviary that has a really small selection of wine, and it's great, but they know people are coming at the end of the day for cocktails. But in order to be like a beverage director and like a strong beverage role, you do have to have some sort of cocktail knowledge. And then when you think about like Mano and even Andros Taverna next door, like, I actually do most of the cocktail development. That's what I did at Asador as well until Christian Sham came in, and he has an amazing cocktail background as well. That's also a part of the Quartermaster Sommelier diploma, right? Like, you do have to know spirits and cocktails and all of that stuff. And I think it's really important. Like, they are not without one another. The amount of times that I go to a table and get a wine order and they say, but we want to start with cocktails, half the time I end up making the cocktails. Like, it's a huge part of going out to eat.
In the service portion, just as you mentioned, like, they quiz you on cocktails and you may have to serve the cocktails before wine even begins.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely.
So it's extremely relevant. They're not to be extricated from each other. They're to take place at the same meal many times.
Absolutely.
So it's only natural that
I like a cocktail.
I'm like hitting up a Negroni before I dive into.
That's exactly what I was gonna say too. Like, my dad is gonna love this. My dad has turned me on to the Negroni game, and that's actually like most of our cocktail program here is like we do like a heavy Negroni program. So we do all these different Negronis. Right now we're featuring a peppermint candy cane Negroni. I'll let you try it.
We're recording in December.
We're recording in December.
Wait, that's awesome.
Hence the Christmas lights.
Indeed, you see them above.
Yeah, but the first thing that I thought of when you like asked me that question is thinking about what is it, Bisous or Bisous?
Yeah,
Bisous?
in West Loop,
Fulton
Market.
I remember meeting the beverage director there at a wine tasting, and like we all know that is a cocktail focused event, but no, like, they have an amazing wine list. It's small because their priority is cocktails, but again, not without existing without one another. Like, they're definitely a hand in hand type thing in my opinion, and I'd love to keep it that way.
Yeah. I think Chicago does it really well.
I agree.
You can hop to maybe a more cocktail centric spot that might have a shorter, more brief wine list, so that if someone at the table really needs a glass of wine, they can enjoy that too.
I might be that person at that table.
Absolutely. And then you can also go to accounts that have extremely extensive wine lists that are 49 pages long and a precise, very sharp cocktail list with obviously classic cocktails on call. But
yeah. I remember when this restaurant first opened about a year and a half ago, they did not have a significant beverage, like, cocktail program. Like, it was very much like a wine-focused program. And I would still argue it is wine-focused, but we realized really quickly that we needed a more built-out cocktail program because that is what people wanted to drink. And at the end of the day, this is a business. But then also, like, why can't they exist within each other's context? So
I feel like we're getting at something important here where I think some comments have been made on a global scale of, oh, the wine industry is being challenged, you know, cocktail culture is challenging wine culture, but it sounds like we're kind of getting to a certain point in our conversation about that these things are intricately related in a very fruitful way, that we shouldn't see cocktails as an intimidation to wine or a disruption to a wine culture, but rather a natural extension of wine culture.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, now that I think about it, when I was working with, like, at the office within the aviaries program, like Speakeasy, they have an extensive, like, Amaro collection, vintage Amaro, vintage chartreuse, and, like, a ton of really cool whiskey. That is kind of their thing. You know, that book reads like a wine list, if you really think about it. It's the vintage, it's all that stuff. It's how many, I guess not the vintage, but how many years it's aged, all those stuff. And
some have vintages,
yeah, and there is, again, a wine list there, but more often than not, I found myself having to learn about all of these whiskeys and, like, what cocktails they would go in well because, oh, this one's a little bit hotter, so, you know, pair it with something a little bit sweeter, or this one's pretty mellow, you can drink it neat, you know, like, kind of all of these ideas. And it's the same way that we talk about wine. We're just talking about a different thing.
Yeah.
But that's, like, what got me into whiskey, or I guess not even into whiskey, but into wine, and end up selling based on, let me find what you're looking for. Like, oh, what do you like? Okay, now let me help you find something accordingly. That is the same conversation I have every single day, but about wine.
So true.
Yeah.
There's so much story to be had with spirits, even though we mix them in cocktails. Like, the story is not any less diminished by the way you enjoy it. What's your favorite whiskey cocktail with a rye whiskey?
Ooh.
This question is bubbling up in my heart, and I just want to know.
I think a Sazerac. I don't know.
It's a good place to go.
Yeah. I like a Sazerac. I don't know where that came from, but...
Yeah, that's the gut reaction.
And there's a fun story behind Sazerac, too.
Oh, yes.
So we
got to recap that for anyone who might be interested?
No, the story behind Sazerac is that they produced, like, brandy, but then phylloxera hit, and they went over to Louisiana, which is still French, but, you know, it grows in Louisiana, lots of rye. So they switched over to producing rye whiskey and then purchased Peychaud's, which, like, Sazerac really... Sazerac and the cocktail, like, the rye and the cocktail are very much, like...
It's a natural
thing. Like, it was the Sazerac cocktail that made Sazerac rye a significant product at all. But, yeah, talk about history. Totally. You get history in cocktails, too.
What's your gin for a classic Negroni? Campari, Carpano Antica.
And what gin? Such a good question. I don't know.
Is there a right answer?
I do think that there's a wrong answer, but I don't think that there's necessarily a right answer. I think that because...
I do think there's a wrong answer.
I do think that because... I'm not going to call out anyone. But I do think that when there's, like, a more bitter or, like, quinine kind of quality in gins, it doesn't go with Campari as well, just because it's bitter on bitter, and you do need that balance.
Yeah.
We have used Geneprau for a really long time. We just recently switched from Geneprau, but that's a Tuscan gin that I've absolutely enjoyed. My heart, though, tells me to say Hayman's. I like a clean gin. Beautiful. I like a clean gin. I don't think I'd go London Dry. I think I'd go, like...
Is Hayman's,
Old
like...
Tom.
Yeah. Okay, Old Tom. Love it.
Yeah. Because just something that's, like, subtle botanicals, but generally clean.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people come out at me and they're like, Hendrix. I'm like, I just feel like it's a little too complicated. We're making it too complicated.
I mean, we have a Hendrix cocktail on our menu, and, like, I love Hendrix. No qualms to Hendrix, but that's not necessarily what I'm going for my Negroni.
For Negroni. Just food for thought. No, that's the full disclosure is welcome.
That's the wrong answer. I'm like, sorry.
I knew we were going to get to it.
Our Hendrix rep even tells me that.
It's the wrong answer.
It is the wrong answer. No. But if you want a Hendrix Negroni, Tuesdays we do $5 Hendrix Negronis, so...
That is actually electric. This is one of the best deals in the city.
It's
a $5 Negronis on Tuesdays at Mano. Yeah.
It's awesome.
I'll be here as soon as possible. Yeah. I'm already sitting here, so I'll just stay.
Through to Tuesday.
Yeah. I'll just stay through tomorrow. You'll be like, she's fine. She's just going to be here.
I'm not even here tomorrow. Just give her the Negroni.
Yeah. That's so funny. What haven't we covered that we should touch on?
One of the things that I wanted to kind of like touch on is Andros and Mano are both amazing restaurants, and I love being a som at these restaurants. But I will also say that there's not always a demand for a som at every single table. Oftentimes it is just families. Like, this is a very cozy, homey, comfortable environment. More often than not, it's families that want to come in and just like low stakes dinner. And like a lot of families, and like my own family, they want to do that with a bottle of wine on the table. So a large part of what my job entails is actually like educating our staff. So like hosting staff trainings. We try to do it every other week for each restaurant. So it'd be like 1 week at Mano and then 2 weeks later at Andros, and kind of back and forth. This way the staff is always being educated on the wines and the history of the wines here, but also just to keep things fun and light and like help other young individuals that work in these restaurants get exposure to wine, because when they are passionate about wine, like we've covered, so is the guest. The guest is going to be far more interested in trying that. Yeah, we do trainings, which is so fun.
Yeah, what's the training style you feel like resonates with them? You kind of, they feel most engaged.
Okay, honestly, games.
Nice.
Which is like requires more work on my end, but I kind of love doing it.
Yeah.
It was actually advice given to me by another sommelier when I was first taking over this position, and was like, how are people supposed to listen to me tell them about something when they are my age or older? Like, I'm not teaching kids. I have no authority naturally, except for like I'm a sweet human, okay? But all of a sudden I need to captivate a large crowd's attention. And so, typically what I do is have like 30 minutes worth of material I want to cover. I create notes for myself, and it's not anything intense. I'm not talking about every single small little climate condition, but like fun facts that would get people interested in that grape, and then maybe what makes that region significant, or what creates these qualities in certain wines that we find so distinct, things of that nature. And then we'll either do like trivia, or like I did like a Jeopardy thing at one point. And it was just like a really fun way to keep people engaged. And then of course at the end of it, if you win, you get a little bottle. You get a bottle of wine of my choosing. But it's always just like a fun way to keep people on their toes.
That's awesome.
I also so Thomas also teaches a lot of the Greek classes. Sometimes I like call in him to do stuff because he is a total Greek wine nerd, and I'm far more focused on Italy. So I learn a lot from him from going to these classes. But he likes to show pictures because he's had the opportunity to go to Greece. And I think that sometimes when you have like a face to the name, face to the winemaker, or a story to the vineyard, and you see the vineyard and you're like, oh, that's the mountain range we were talking about. That is creating this significant rain shadow over Crete or something. Like that creates the context, which is really nice. And then occasionally I'll have people come in and like talk about producers. Like reps will come in and like highlight producers. And sometimes it's nice to just have someone else talking at you for once.
Sure.
Like, I'm sure people will get enough of me.
A new vibe, yeah.
At some point, people probably get enough of me and my voice. So, yeah, having other people every once in a while pop in and do stuff. Like, most people are really into it. Because, again, this wine community, very collaborative. Kind of love it.
Love it.
I do love it. Yeah. And talking about, like, it being, like, a less serious wine environment here, where we try to make it a little bit more bistro-y and a little bit more easy. I think guests are often intimidated when the som comes to the table with the bottle of wine to present it, even if they had ordered from the server. Often that happens. Servers are expected to do a lot here. Like, they make their own drinks. So if I can help out in any way, i.e. presenting and pouring a bottle of wine, or even helping with those cocktails, I'm going to. So one of my favorite things that happens on a daily basis is I will pour a taste for the guests that ordered the wine. And they'll say, well, I don't know what I'm tasting for. Like, you can just pour it. And rather than just pouring it, I actually like to kind of be like, no, this is the wine service. And I'm like, listen, I poured wine in your glass. Take a sip like you would. And then if it tastes like wine, cool. Tell me, yeah, this is good. It tastes like wine. And then I'll pour. Like, it's not that serious at the end of the day. It can be. And I like that it can be. But I also like that it can be this more casual, upbeat, shareable thing. And so by making it easy and approachable and being like, I'm not going to judge you either way, like, that's nice for me. I like to be able to do that.
It's a pretty cool cadence with the guests. And it's also okay to invite them to partake in that moment too. Like, you
right. Like, I want them to partake.
There's nothing wrong with inviting them to be like, no, it's okay. Like, we're going to do this. And everything will be fine.
Yeah, it's not that serious. Like, if you enjoy it, amazing. That's the only thing I care about at the end of the day.
Yeah. There's like that Corporate Natalie Instagram reel. Do you follow Corporate Natalie?
I think so. She's the girl with the bigger glasses sometimes.
Yeah, and she like makes jokes about the corporate life. And there's a joke that they do also with Hey Free Samples, which is another account. And they're like joking about how they would rather suffer through the wrong drink than send it back. And this isn't exactly what you're describing with wine service, but sometimes people feel intimidated to like be like, hey, actually, this isn't at all what I expected. Like, and it would probably disappoint you for a guest to like leave and never come back because they didn't enjoy their beverage.
I would find that so like dissatisfying.
Like
ultimately, what I like to think about is like, if you don't like that wine, like even though that taste is really just to determine whether or not it's a flawed bottle. If you don't like that wine, that's the time to let me know. Because then I'll just drink it.
What's gonna happen?
We'll get you something you do like. Trust me, it's not going down the drain. It's a staff training bottle at that point.
Someone will,
we'll share it with others. Like, it's not that serious at the end of the day. Yeah, I just want you to leave happy.
You're a great som to be around for someone who wants to enjoy wine.
Thank you. I mean, because I want other people to enjoy wine too. Like, I don't think this industry is about gatekeeping.
Yeah.
And I've had plenty of people that have, indulged me in my questions, and I'm very not afraid to ask questions. And I'm the first one to admit that I know nothing. Like, I want to learn. I think the second we stop learning is the second we assume we know everything. So I'm going to keep asking questions. And I want you to know, like, if you want to ask questions, girl, go for it. If I don't have the answer, I'm going to find it for you. Like, I don't know everything.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of life, is to learn more about everything.
Right.
So yeah, I like to make it a comfortable environment to do such.
It's really well said. Okay, ready for rapid fire? Most exciting new addition to the wine list right now.
Ooh, okay, well, I'm going to be adding more to our legendary, like our higher end list soon, but on our bistro style list, I just put on Erba Luce. So like another one of those grapes that's like kind of obscure.
Yeah.
But I love it, and I think it's going to be so fun. If you'll let me introduce you to a new grape, I promise you'll enjoy it, especially if you like a bright, high acid wine, like Erba Luce is for you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Caluzo, where it's at. Favorite pairing on the Mano menu with any wine? What's your favorite like pairing that you have? Maybe a food bite and a wine you carry.
I had this recently, and I thought it was a game changer. You just saw Dave walk through the back.
Yeah, he did.
Hi, Dave. No, our stuffed farfalle has like butternut squash and sage. It's a butter sauce, a little bit of nuts on top, and then we actually carry the Sorelli Verdicchio. Such an amazing wine. Like, even just drinking it before you get your pasta, it's phenomenal. But it's got kind of like a nutty, nutmeggy quality, like a almond skin, not almond skin, like Marcona almond, nutmeggy quality that like complements that wine so well. And then it's high enough acid that it cuts through like the rich butter and butternut squash. It's an amazing pairing.
Beautiful.
It's actually such a good pairing. I love it.
Sometimes people might see that butter and think, oh, I need to go richer on the wine. But in this case, you have that high acid, like,
it's still a round wine. Like, you still get a little bit of body there.
Sure.
I also think that one of the things is that people assume, like, all pasta is a red wine pairing. And I think, like, with red sauce, sure. Like, yes, absolutely. But we have a lot of butter sauce or, like, cheesy sauces or pesto on our menu. And, like, white wine is 100% going to pair with those.
White may very well be the move. What about your dream region to visit next?
Oh, I know I should say, like, Italy. I have been very fortunate and have been to Etna. So that probably would have been there if we'd done this together like a year ago.
Yes.
But I think it's Greece. Just because there's so many cool, like, microclimates within Greece. I mean, the islands are all, all these different microclimates. And then you can go to, like, northern Greece and it's mountainous and, like, continental. And there's a ton of, like, ungrafted vines and, like, niche small productions of, like, local grapes and, like, specific grapes to those regions. Yeah. I want to go. I know. It'd be so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
We've covered a lot of ground. And I feel like we hit on a few cool points about the relationship between cocktails and wine at the table, the interaction between a sommelier, the wine list, and the guest.
Yeah.
And the philosophy around Chicago wine culture and cocktail culture in general, but also how you are really fulfilling that in your own mission and how you are truly engaging your guests in your restaurant is just an awesome example for people to see. So thank you so much for sharing that example with us.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I try.
Well done, Liz. Well, cheers, everyone. It's been such a joy to record this podcast. Thank you again, Liz, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And follow the restaurants on Instagram. Follow Liz. We'll put everything in the show notes, and we can't wait to continue the dialogue with you. So cheers, chin chin, salute.
Tante grazie. Thanks so much for being here with me today. Remember to catch our episodes weekly on the Italian Wine Podcast, available everywhere you get your pods. Salute.